to go.
Hi, friends. I'm Deneen. I'm from Kid Made Modern. We're so happy that you're here to join us. Tessa from Studio Jane is going to be doing an excellent craft with you, and we hope you have a wonderful time. Now, just a reminder, we can't see or hear you, but if you have something you want to share with us, feel free to write it in the Q&A. I'll make sure to pass that along to Tessa. We love to hear where you're from, some of your favorite art supplies, and if you're having a good time, okay? Otherwise, enjoy yourself. This is a time to get crafty, right? And have a wonderful time. Think we're ready, Tessa?
Great. Thanks so much, Deneen. Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm Tessa from Studio Jane, and I'm so excited to be here with Kid Made Modern and Michaels to craft with you guys. And today we're going to be making this fun layered egg craft. So as you can see in our sample here, we've got all different colors and patterns. And if you can see here, it is actually 2 layers of paper and then tons of different craft supplies, all from our Kid Made Modern arts and crafts library. And then we threw in a couple extra things that you probably have in your craft supplies already. So quickly to go through our craft supplies so you can gather them if you haven't yet. We're going to be using just construction paper. So I have 2 sheets of white construction paper here to make our egg. You can use any color you want. You can also use cardboard or paper plates even if you want to make yours a little bit thicker or if you have that instead of paper today. And then we're going to be using fuzzy sticks. So these are all different fun colors and sizes. These ones are also in our arts and crafts library that are kind of fun and funky. So we might add some of those in. And then we're going to be using felt. So these are all little small strips. You can use any colors you want. These are small strips that are in the Kid Made Modern Arts and Crafts library, but you can use any felt you have. So if you have larger pieces, we're going to cut these down into small strips anyways. If you don't have felt today, you can also use construction paper in different colors, or you can draw or doodle your own prints or patterns on paper. And then lastly, oh wait, a couple more things, sorry. We're also using washi tape. So we've just got this like decorative tape. You can use all different patterns and colors. Again, if you don't have tape today, you can just use duplicates of the same supplies. It's all going to be layered together, so you don't need every single supply. And then we also are going to be using yarn. So I have a couple colors here, a pink and a blue. You can use any colors that you want. And then to attach everything, we're going to be using tape. So I just have like regular office tape, and you can also use glue dots or a hot glue gun when we put all this together. And that's basically everything you're going to need today. Grab a pair of scissors to cut out our egg and to trim things down as we go. And I think that that's going to be it. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera around so you guys can see my table and we'll get started. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got our egg. And again, it's 2 different sheets of paper and then just layers of all of our different supplies. So to start, we're going to bring in a piece of paper, and then we're just going to start adding all these fun layers on. So we've got fuzzy sticks here that we can add in, and tape and yarn. All of these we're not going to cut down or put into other shapes or anything like that. We're just going to layer them in all the way down. But with the felt, or if you're using other construction paper or anything like that, these we're going to cut into some fun little wavy lines, scalloped edges, or little zigzag shapes. So you can do that if you want, or you can just cut thin strips as well. So to start, that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to take a piece of my felt here, and then with my scissors, I'm just freehand cutting here. So I'm just going to start cutting in and go up and then down and up and down. And we're just going to create a little wave pattern on here. And this is just one of the options. You can also do a tighter scallop that we'll show next, or you can do little zigzags, so like little triangles, or again, you can just cut thin strips if you want to do that instead. If you feel a little hesitant to just freehand cut like this, you can always draw out your shapes first and then cut along the line as well. And we're just going to continue to cut a few different shapes out. So now you can see the opposite on this of where I cut off. So I'm just going to cut straight below it to create a different type of line. So now we'll have this little piece, and you can see this one is a little bit different, and that's fun. So they're all different, and we're just going to cut a few different styles together. And I'm going to cut a couple. These strips we have here are a little bit short to cover the entire piece of paper. So I'm going to cut a couple the same pattern so that we can put them together when we glue them down. And that way we don't have to worry about there being a gap in the middle of our egg or anything like that. So now you can see these ones, I did a similar pattern. So then once they're on our egg, we can easily put these ends together and it will continue our pattern all the way across our paper. And this one is going to be the same since it's the opposite or the extra that's left over. So I'm just going to layer these together and then trim this one so that they're the same height as well. And that way we'll be able to put these together to make a longer strip as well.
Hey, Tessa. So we have Rita and Luke from Quakertown, PA. Wanted to say hi. Jessica wants to know what can they do if they don't have construction paper?
Yeah, if you guys don't have construction paper, you can definitely just layer in lots of the same material. So you can do multiple strips of fuzzy sticks or yarn instead, or you can do all tape or just all felt. So, or do you mean if you don't have paper to glue everything onto?
Yeah.
If you don't have paper to glue everything onto, see if maybe you have some cardboard lying around the house, if there's an extra box from a shipment an adult got at your home, maybe there's some paper plates, anything like that will also work. So we want to be able to have a flat surface to tape and glue everything on, and then something that we're going to cut the egg shape out to layer on top. So you just need two pieces about the same size, and you can really make this any size you want. Since I just use construction paper that's 8.5 by 11, but you can make them bigger or smaller and do the same technique. So if you have a bigger or smaller piece of paper or a paper plate or something like that, then you can do that instead.
Hey friends, looks like a few of our friends said they don't have supplies, so they're just going to watch. And I just wanted to let you know that this is going to be recorded and available for you to watch at another time in the next 24 hours on michaels.com/classes. Okay, so if you don't have the supplies, don't worry too much.
Yeah, absolutely. As Deneen said, there's going to be ways for you guys to watch this later, or you can watch and follow along for all the techniques now and then make your own. Or definitely feel free to get creative and use any supplies you might have. This again is just layers of different materials all together. So you can, there's really no wrong way to make a little layered egg today. All right, so we did a little wave pattern with this first one in yellow. Now we're going to do more of a scallop. So for the scallop, I'm going to cut almost a perfect circle at the top, and then come down and then start again. So we're just going to do little humps, little half circles all the way across. And you can make them different sizes. You can make them all the same. They're all cute and fun. So you really can kind of play around with whatever shapes you want. So I'm just curving my scissors as I go to just make little hump shapes all the way across my felt.
Tessa, so Gail had a suggestion. She says if you're going to use newspaper pages or magazines for a different look, use ones with a spring theme. That would be fun.
Oh, that's a great idea. That would be really cute. All right. And then I'm going to do a little zigzag shape. So basically little triangles all the way across this style. I'm just showing you guys a couple styles and how to do those shapes, but you can make any shapes you want with your felt or your paper. So you can really get creative with this step. And this just gives us some different texture and pattern to add into our egg to make it lots of fun shapes. So you can see we've got little triangles all the way across here. And then since this one, that's what's left over on our felt, but the triangles look exactly the same. So we're just going to go ahead and layer these together so that we can cut along the bottom of this one so that they'll be the same height in order to make a long strip. So now we'll be able to put these together and keep our triangles going all the way across our egg. And again, you can also just cut these down into small strips. So I'm just going to cut a couple into skinny strips that don't have any pattern as well. And I'm just freehand cutting these. So I'm not measuring it. I'm just kind of eyeballing it as I go to get a similar length and fairly straight lines. Once they're all layered together, you really can't tell. And sometimes I like to have that element of it obviously handmade in there too. All right, for this one, I'm going to do a fully wavy. So I'm just going to kind of do longer cuts before I go up and then back down. And again, I'm just kind of making them up as I go. So you don't have to worry about getting them exactly right. You can make any pattern you want. And I know in all of our supplies that we're using today, I'm using a lot of different fun springy colors, but I'd love to know what colors you guys are making your eggs with today, and definitely put them in the Q&A and let us know what color palette you guys selected for your own art. So again, just cut a long wavy strip there. This one. And then we'll just go ahead and cut a straight edge here. So you can see our whole pile now here of different fun patterns. I'm going to grab a hot pink strip of felt to make sure I get that fun color in there too.
Hey Tessa, so Rita is using green, pink, and purple. We have Gracie using blue, pink, yellow, purple, and green. And then Adeline wants you to know that she's using blue, pink, and green. So a lot of fun Easter bright colors.
Cute. Those all sound like great color palettes. I know in my original sample, I didn't put any purple, but I have some purple felt here. So maybe we need to add that in today.
Oh, Angeli is using, okay, paper white, felt purple, green and yellow. Connie, blue, yellow, pink, and dark pink. So a mixture of some pinks, which is fun.
Cute. Yes, I love hearing how different and sometimes similar your guys are to each other or to mine, and how they all still are going to come out so different.
Brittany's using some washi tape, holographic. So that's so fun too.
Oh, that's cool. Again,
oh, tape with bunnies on it. Lily found some tape with bunnies on it that she's using.
Oh my gosh, so cute. That's a great idea.
Love that. So neat. Friends using, let's see, masking tape. Oh, cheetah print duct tape. That is cool.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, you can also use masking tape or painter's tape, and you can either paint that or draw on it to make your own patterns as well. So look around the house. I'm sure if you are missing some supplies, there's something that's similar you can use to make your craft still.
Claire wants you to know that she's using yellow, purple, pink, green felt, and her tape has dessert all over it.
Oh my gosh, so cute. That's a great idea.
And Gracie has tape with rainbow sprinkles, Tessa.
Oh my gosh, you guys, where are you finding all these cute supplies? I love the idea of sprinkles on the tape. That's so cute.
Well, we have unicorn tape.
Ooh, that's fun. I always love a unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so as I have a whole little pile now here of different shapes and sizes and patterns that we cut out our felt out of. And this might be more than we're gonna need. We might need to cut a little bit more. I didn't do an exact calculation for it. And so we're just gonna kind of now start layering them in together. So to do that, what you're going to do is to take whatever material you wanna start with. I'm gonna start with a little piece of tape here. So I'm just gonna take this, just some striped washi tape, and I'm just gonna tear a piece off, and I'm going to layer it onto the top of my paper, just about a 1/4 inch or so from the top of my paper. And you can see here my edges are not straight, they're not in the shape of an egg yet. So this is how we're gonna do the whole way down. We're just going to start adding all these different items in. And at the top, we can be a little bit narrower because as an egg, it curves at the top and then gets bigger at the bottom. So we can start with some of these being a little bit smaller. And then as we get further down, we're gonna wanna make sure we go all the way to the edge of our paper in order to cover it, in order to have the whole center of our egg filled. So to do that, you can either take, again, some glue dots or hot glue, or you can also just take a little bit of regular Scotch tape, and I'm just going to tape it on both ends. So again, we're going to cover this with our second piece of paper, so you're never going to see the taped ends, and we can just start layering like that. And as we layer here, I'm just going to take a fuzzy stick and cut this down and keep taping it on. So if you want to use a different adhesive, you can definitely use, again, hot glue to go underneath it, or glue dots. If you feel like some of yours is sticking up in the middle and you want to add a little extra glue, I'm just going to take a little glue dot here, go right underneath, and I'll be able to press those into it. And you can see I just have layers here. So I've got tape, felt, and a fuzzy stick, and I'm just either overlapping them slightly or pushing them up directly against one another so I don't have any of my white paper showing through. And then that's basically going to be the same steps all the way down. So we're just going to keep layering in. So I'm going to take a little bit of yarn now, and I'm just going to hold it to get an idea of how long I need that, and then just cut a strip. And we're just going to keep taping as we go. With the yarn, I'm just going to pull it tight and then tape on the other end. And let's see here, add some felt next. So this I'm just going to turn upside down so that I have my pattern underneath instead. But that's going to be hard for me to layer in something that covers all that weight. So I'm going to take a little bit of tape, get my end here. I'm going to put a little bit of tape down first, leaving a gap between so I can fill in with my felt. Do one there and one there. So again, I have these two smaller strips. If you're using scraps of felt, or you have all different sizes, or smaller pieces like the ones I'm using, I just put two of the same pattern together, layered them right next to each other, and you can hardly even tell. And I'm just going to cut whatever is left. And then again, we're just going to tape the end here. And add tape to my other end. And then in the middle where these two pieces of felt meet, I'm going to add a glue dot. Or if you're crafting with an adult today, then you can also do a little dot of hot glue.
Hey, Tessa.
Yeah.
So Alina was wondering if she is able to use dot paint. How would she be able to incorporate dot paint in this craft if she has that on hand?
Oh, that sounds fun. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely do dot paint if you wanted to do that onto strips of paper and then cut the strips out. Then you could layer those strips in as well. Or you can just leave gaps on your paper in between other materials, and then add in the dot paint in between. So you can always leave little gaps in between your materials. Like for these ones, we're butting all of them right up next to each other. But if you wanted to leave a gap, then you could easily draw in a pattern, paint in a pattern in between. So you could layer in with those types of materials as well. All right, I'm going to take these fun, funky, fuzzy sticks here. See how long I need that. And then just trim that down. And again, since this one's kind of a funky shape and not going to line up perfectly, I'm going to do another little strip of tape below. And I'm going to use this little grid pattern one. Do that. And then we'll be able to add this on. And be able to fill in that gap. You can see here with this fuzzy stick, I'm still getting some of that white paper showing through. So I'm just going to add another little layer of a different tape first. I have this fun silver one. And some of these metallic tapes are actually from our Kid Made Modern Valentine kits. So definitely check out all those different box kits and different materials that we have, but you can always grab some other materials like similar to washi tape or these decorative tapes at Michael's. All right, so now we've kind of filled in all that white, and then we're just going to again tape it on. So as I'm layering all these in, you can start to see I definitely have tape overlapping on the sides here. You can see I've got all this tape here, but once we add in our second piece of paper, we're going to cover all of that up. And I'm going to grab a glue dot to put underneath the thicker portion of this fuzzy stick to get that to lay flat. So we're starting to add all these fun layers on. Now we're just going to continue with layering them in. So I'm going to take a little more felt. And just in case you guys are at home using a hot glue with an adult, I will show you that method as well. So I'm just going to take a little dot on either end. You don't need a lot. And then we'll layer that in. The great thing about using longer pieces like this is that if you are crafting with a low temp hot glue gun, you don't have to worry too much about touching it since you've got a lot of space to grab onto here. And I'm just cutting off whatever excess I have. All right. Take a fuzzy stick next. And if you are using just glue dots, then you can do that as well. You don't have to tape the ends down. You can also use just white craft glue. Sometimes it takes quite a bit longer for that to dry along these types of materials with the fuzzy sticks or the yarn, but you can definitely do that. So once you place it in place with your white craft glue, then I would just really try to leave it and let it set. So for that one, just use all glue dots once and layering that together. And again, I'm just kind of making up my pattern as I go. So picking different materials of what I want to use next. You can even add in different layers of tape in different places and then fill in. So I could do a big piece of tape down here, and then I'll know I have different spaces to fill in with as I get down. So you can really kind of pick and choose how you want to build your whole pattern here. And there's no wrong way to do it.
Hey Tessa, so Tarika's having a little trouble with the fuzzy sticks. She's saying that they're pretty bent and she can't seem to straighten them. How do you recommend the best way to get them straightened out? Is it tape, adding a little more hot glue?
Yeah, definitely. If yours are all bent up, I know sometimes that happens if we've used them for different stuff or they're fun to play with, and you can so always pull them real tight. And then if you still are getting bends like this in it, then yeah, I would go ahead and add in either some more glue dots or hot glue. So you can always take your hot glue and do a whole line of glue and then layer that in, and that's going to hold it down real tight. We always recommend that if you are using a hot glue gun, make sure that you're crafting with an adult. And again, if you do a whole strip of glue, you can take your fuzzy stick, hold it tight on both ends, let that sit into the glue to dry. You don't have to touch it. And then afterward, you can trim your edges. So you can make sure you're holding the ends that aren't going to be in the glue.
Thanks, Tessa.
Yeah, of course. Add in a couple dots of, and again, if you're with most of these materials, they stick pretty easily with hot glue or glue dots. So you don't need a lot. A little bit goes a long way to kind of fill in and make sure that it's going to adhere nicely. Just making sure my edges line up as I layer my felt together. And then anything that hangs off the edge, I'm just going to trim. And then we'll have these little extra pieces. And I always like to hang on to these. We might end up needing more little bits somewhere else, or you can always make a mini version of the same craft with all your little pieces later, maybe to do a little Easter card, something like that. So I always like to hang on to all my scraps. Okay, so now to show you, yeah, we have this one that I kind of bent up. So we'll just take a little bit of glue right along the edge of my tape. And I'm gonna pull this fuzzy stick tight and then lay it right on top of the glue, holding it on both ends rather than touching where the glue is. You can give it a couple quick little pats if you need to. And if you need to add a couple extra little bits, you can do that. And again, I put a little dot of glue and then I'm holding it on either end of the glue, not directly on top, to make sure I don't burn my fingers. So now this might, and if you have a little bit of wave in your fuzzy sticks, that's okay too. Just like we created patterns with all the felt, maybe you want some wavy fuzzy sticks or you want to make them really curly and funky. You can't go wrong. All right, I'm going to take more felt here. Do this little pink scalloped. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this little end here straight so that it will line up to this other one a little bit better. Now we have a nice line up there. Put a little line of glue. And again, as I add in some glue, and then I'm just going to push it up directly into the edge of that fuzzy stick above it.
Tessa, Carly wanted to add an idea. She's using ribbon and she wants to let us know that it's a great idea to use ribbon for the egg. A lot of friends were telling me about the ribbons they're using for their eggs. Some had shiny, lace, pearl ribbon. So they're incorporating ribbons in their egg and they wanted you to know about it.
That's a great idea. Yes, ribbon is definitely an easy one you could add in. Go and see if there's any leftover ribbon pieces from wrapping presents, anything like that. You could do all different types and layer those in. Similarly to the felt, you can even cut ribbon into different patterns as well. So yeah, that's a great idea. All right. And then it's going to go ahead and take another little strip of tape here. And on this one, I put down this little scalloped first, and I should have put down some tape. So as you can see, if you make a mistake, you can easily lift them up a little bit and add in some tape. So I'm just going to lift up the edges of my scallop and add in more. You can always just layer in a different piece or different type if you want to. You can on top of that scalloped edge too. Or again, you can leave a gap on your paper if you want the white to show. But just like that, I was able to add in another piece of tape. So you can see it's really easy to go back and forth and add in different layers as you go. All right, gonna keep on going here. Add in, let's see here, maybe another little purple strip. And then again, just where they meet up. And then we'll cut off any extra.
So Cami wanted to share that she's using stick-on gems to embellish, which I think is fabulous.
That is adorable. Yes, you can totally do, well, yeah, little gems and rhinestones, maybe do a little strip of glitter in there. I love all of those ideas. Okay, I'll take another little bit of yarn here. For the yarn, I'm just going to take some tape. Tape it onto the edge of my paper. And then I'll pull it tight. And for this, I have a little bit of my extra tape here, and I can just wrap it around the edge of my paper as well. And if you have any extra material hanging off the end, I'm just going to trim that off. All right, let's see here. I'm going to take a couple of our small strips of felt that we did that were just no pattern cut into them, just a thin strip. And we'll add that in. So you can see as we are building this in, it layers in pretty quickly. And again, you can add as many different layers as you want. You can overlap layers or leave big gaps if you want to as well. All of those will make it equally as cute, if not better. Okay, let's add another strip here of tape. So I want to add another one of these big chunky fuzzy sticks on here. So I'm going to add another piece of tape pretty close to the line to my felt. And then I'm going to take this
bright pink fuzzy stick. Oh, my fuzzy stick's grabbing all my felt. And then see where we want this to go. So I'm gonna put this kind of evenly in the middle so that I have each of these little plumes of fuzzy sticks hanging out there. And I'm just gonna do a little dollop of glue on one end and then do the same on the other. You need one more dot right in the middle. And again, you could definitely do a little glue dot as well. And then we're just gonna cut off the excess here. Okay. And what's fun about a craft like this too is this technique you can easily use over and over again for all different types of holidays or different shapes. You could, once we do the overlayer next, once we finish layering here, we'll show you how to do that. And then you can easily do a star or a heart or a tree for the holidays. So there's really a billion ways you can make this for every holiday or for different art crafts to gift to someone, maybe make something similar for mom for Mother's Day or grandma for a holiday or her birthday. So there's a lot of different things you can do with all these same techniques. Again, as I layer in, I'm just making sure that my felt lines up together, and then you can't even tell that it's two strips put together. And you can do the same thing with fuzzy sticks. So if you have scraps of fuzzy sticks or little remnants of them, you can easily put two together. So, and once you layer them together, you won't even be able to tell that you added different ones. So maybe you even want to do lots of little pieces to make a whole little rainbow fuzzy stick of your own. That would also be fun. All right, I'm gonna add in another strip of tape down here. Now let's see here. Do a little green. And I love all these bright colors, especially this bright green. Green's one of my favorite colors anyway, so I'm always gonna tend to gravitate toward the greens. And we're almost done layering in here. I have a little bit of yellow felt here from that one I didn't trim.
Michaela is offering a suggestion. She says to make it look extra fancy, twist your felt or ribbon.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, you could definitely do a little twisty twist. I'm assuming something like that you're thinking, and then you could add a little more texture and three-dimensional ideas. That's a great idea. All right, gonna do another fuzzy stick down at the bottom. Again, you can easily tape your ends, do a little glue, whatever adhesive material you're using today will definitely work. And then down at the bottom, as you can see in our sample, it gets a little bit narrower again at the bottom. So we have the widest portion in the middle. It's narrower at the top and at the bottom. So we can easily add in a smaller strip at the bottom that you won't need to fill in the entire thing because our overlay will cover it up. Okay, so now I've covered my whole paper here in layers of all different materials and colors. And next we're going to make the actual egg shape. So I'm going to take my second sheet of paper here. And if you're still layering your paper, you can continue doing that, or you can put a hold on that and draw your egg with me, and then you can go back to layering as well. So I'm just going to freehand draw an oval, an egg shape. So you can make yours as pointed at the top as you want, or if you want to be really skinny. Eggs come in all sorts of variations. So I'm just going to start at the top and make it get wider in the middle. And so you can see my egg is not perfect, and that's okay. We're going to cut it out and we can edit it as we cut too. So to do that, I'm going to fold my paper a little bit in the middle, and then with my scissors, I'm going to pinch to create a little hole, and now I can cut my egg out. So I'm going to make sure, try to get my egg even on both sides. So I'm going to cut right along the edge of my line here. I used a black marker so you guys can kind of see, but you can also use a pencil or a crayon or anything like that. And then since I drew mine a little bit tighter on this end, I'm going to make mine a little bit bigger here to even it out. You can also just freehand cut an egg if you don't want to draw one first. And again, so this part is the fun part that you can easily make any shape you want. So maybe you don't want to make an egg today, and that's okay. You can do easily make any shape you want if you want it to be a star or a heart or a flower for spring. All of those would be so cute. Right, and then I'm just going to edit this little edge here that's got a little sharp corner. So now I've got my oval here, and then what we're going to do is layer this on top, and you can see our egg starting to come to life. So to do that, I'm going to add in a little bit of glue right in the corner. You can also do a glue dot to tighten my corners. And this is going to connect our two pieces of paper together, kind of locking all of our layers in. And just pushing down a little bit. Again, this is just going to keep our two papers together and create the full egg shape. If you feel like you've got a little bit of gapping or anything like that, you can always add a little extra glue on the sides. And then got your egg shape, got a little bit of fuzzy stick hanging out my edge here. So I'm just going to trim that down. So if you have any materials showing, you can just trim those off. And we've got a whole egg here full of color and pattern, all ready for Easter. So again, you can do this a million different ways and all different materials. And some of them are showing where the layers are, which is really fun. You can see all the different dimension of all these different materials. And then you can easily hang this on the wall. You can sign your name or write a cute little Easter or spring note on the back. And then like that, your whole spring and Easter craft is complete.
Tessa, that looks exceptional. I'm trying to think of all the words I could come up with egg in them. But
thank you,
what an
Denise. Yes,
exciting class.
It is exciting. And I had so much fun crafting with you guys today. Again, I'd love to see anything you guys make that's similar, any different colors or shapes you guys do. All of them are going to be beautiful. So I had so much fun crafting with you guys.
Yeah, so friends, we love seeing photos of your artwork, right? So there's a few ways you can share. Hashtags Make It With Michaels, hashtag Michaels Classes, hashtag Go Make Stuff, and you can also tag us, right? So at Kid Made Modern, at Shop Studio Jane, or at Michaels. post the photos of your beautiful artwork. We want to see this stuff if you have a social media account. Another thing, so if you want to watch this awesome craft class, which I know I do, the video will be posted in 24 to 48 hours on michaels.com/classes. So definitely check it out. And I know if you had fun today, good news, Tessa has another upcoming class. So.
Yes, in a couple weeks on April 8th, we're going to be making this fun birdhouse made of popsicle sticks. Or wooden craft sticks. These come in our Kid Made Modern Arts and Crafts library. We're going to paint them, and then we'll go through all the steps of how to hot glue this together, and then we'll be able to fill it with birdseed just in time for spring, to hang outside for all the your new little bird friends.
Yeah, so perfect. I love it. All the wooden craft sticks. Definitely, it's a perfect Earth Day spring craft. You definitely should join us. It'll be so fun. Tessa, you're amazing. Yeah, so fun.
Well, thank you so much, you guys. I had so much fun crafting with you, and I hope to see you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, friends.